Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, guys, just on the same thread of the rhetoric taking momentum on World War III, the Malhama. It's just more on it, and I want to just continue from this. I know this is a late article, it was on the 29th of September, but you'll see the thread continue from this in a moment. Anyway, the US State Department spokesman John Kirby says Russia will continue to send their troops home from Syria in body bags. I want you to just watch this little clip and then we'll move on to something else in a second.
Threatening to end cooperation with Moscow on Syria unless, quote, Russian and Syrian attacks on Aleppo stop. The US State Department also says it's looking at non-diplomatic options for responding to the situation in the war-torn country. On top of that, it warns that Russia will continue to see its troops return home in body bags.
Extremist groups will continue to exploit the vacuums that are there in Syria to expand their...
Okay, when they say vacuums in Syria, what they mean is non-government groups, fringe groups, I guess, and those would be the likes of the Al-Nusra Front or ISIS and what have you.
Operations, which will include, no question, attacks against Russian interests, perhaps even Russian cities.
Did you hear that? Perhaps even Russian cities. So they're basically imagine if Russia came out, an official from Russia came out and said that we may perhaps target American cities. So that would include New York and other countries, other cities like that. That threat wouldn't be taken lightly, and that's quite a big threat for them to make. And you can understand how Russia then, on top of this rhetoric, and look, understand one thing for me: this, as far as I'm concerned, isn't an organic situation that's unfolding around us. It's a huge and a very elaborate and intricate psyop. But as far as I'm concerned, the both opposing ends of this structure, which again is, I'll draw your attention to the Hegelian dialectic and the thesis and antithesis, either one of which are playing their role. So Russia is playing their role, and when I say Russia, I don't mean the country and its people. And when I say America, I do not mean the country and its people. I mean those people who are leading the country, leading the military, and heading the military arm and the politics. I mean those individuals, and those individuals are at the helm of the direction that the country and its people will take. These individuals who are allied with very dark forces are basically coercing their countries into a war, and then those countries that are allied with the two respective countries, America and Russia, will also be drawn into this war. It's a very elaborate thing, and all of this is a script. It's nothing but a soap opera playing out on the Ummah, and the Ummah is then buying into this as a very real, organic situation that's unfolding through a series of events, when in fact every one of them have been carefully structured and manufactured and designed with those in the know being aware of it. It's compartmentalized, very much like the pyramid structure, and those that need to know, who are on a need to know basis, are the ones who are basically instigating this and directing it to that particular direction. And again, like I said, in this situation, as far as I can see, they're trying to lull the Muslim demographic of the Arab world into this as well, using Turkey as almost the leadership, driving that agenda. So, I mean, that's my position. You're welcome to kind of disagree with it and put forward your own opinions, but so that's certainly where I stand, and I continue to stand on that. Again, I certainly advise caution on this. I'm going to just continue on this and just we'll move on to something else in a second.
And Russia will continue to send troops home in body bags. Here at the State Department, the Secretary is still committed to a diplomatic solution. There.
Okay, we're going to move on from that. I'll leave a link to this particular article for you guys to take a look at. Okay, this is another article in the Wall Street Journal. Hillary Clinton campaign manager blames Russia for email hacking. Okay, this was on the 11th of October. Do you see the rhetoric now and the drive? The drumbeat towards the eventual nuclear war that's going to take place. And you can see how they're basically pushing it. Again, guys, I mean, be mindful of the numbers and stuff that they use on this. You'll see when it's posted and stuff like that. They're very clear indications of the kind of fraternities that are behind this. It becomes very obvious after a little while. Okay, now there's another article. I'll leave links to this, so please have a read at it. John Podesta says Russia spies hacked his emails to sway the election. This is in the New York Times. Again, they're just conditioning minds for the eventual. Well, right now they're just creating a boogeyman, which is Russia, in the mind's eye of their citizens in the country, and then they'll justify it. You got Obama considers proportional response to Russian hacking in the US. So do you see how there's like a drive? You've got the military, then you've got Hillary Clinton, then you've got Obama, right? Same rhetoric again. So I mean, again, there's a drive, there's a push towards this whole thing. It seems very likely. Russians playing their part in this whole script. And again, please understand, I want to be very clear on this. When I mean Russia, I don't mean Russia and its people. I mean the Russian leadership and its military arm. As far as I'm concerned, they're all part of the same dark forces and allied towards them. And that includes America, the military arm, and their political arm. And behind the scenes, these guys are clinking champagne glasses together. It's just a big show that's been basically played out on the world stage. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakallahu khairan wa ahsanu jazak for your time. I can't, stress enough that you guys consider stocking up on non-perishable goods. Chances are, if this does happen, and it seems to be very likely that it will happen, and I'm going to wing this. And I think it's going to happen at the end of October, again because of occult reasons, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And if it does happen, then the world economy will certainly collapse instantly, but so will trade and commerce. What that basically means is what you find on your shelves won't exist anymore. If you have loved ones, all I'm saying is you don't have to change your world. Buy non-perishable goods. Stock up on about 6 months as a minimum worth of stock. Keep that stock somewhere like on the first floor of your house, and don't use it. I mean, it's non-perishable, so it's not going to be money that's wasted. I'd certainly take money out, a reasonable amount of money out of my account, if not all of it, and I'd invest a huge portion of that in real gold and real silver, stuff that you can basically hold, touch, and bite into. That's the dinar and the dirham traditionally. Islamically, it was gold and silver coins. Again, it's going to be a safe haven. Many people are going to rush towards it. What you'll find is when this does happen, the world's currency, they're going to lose their intrinsic value. As they do that, you'll be able to buy far less gold with that money. And don't forget, to compound matters further, gold and silver, the price will go much more higher. And when I say much more, I literally mean they will hit the skyline. They'll just hit the roof. So, I mean, you've got to be astute and smart about this, and just be a little sensible. You can see the sort of noises that are being made, and all of it, as far as I'm concerned, World War III, the economic collapse is there to reset the clock. Apparently the world owes 150 something trillion dollars. Someone said something really funny, and it was quite. It was Uh, a very funny comment. He said, "Well, who does the world owe 150 trillion to, to the planet Mars?" You know, it's funny. It's funny, but I mean, I guess when they say the world, they obviously or IMF and other organisations and institutions that have been set up to run the monopoly, the financial monopoly of the world. So I mean, moving on, it's there to reset the clock. Just so up until now, America has been basically exploiting the wealth of the Ummah. More so, Saudi Arabia um, by pegging the dollar to the oil and making the petrol dollar and creating intrinsic value in their paper money almost overnight without the gold backing. And they've been looting the world's resources since using that paper money that they've been printing in the printing press. That obviously, and then now their debt, their global debt, is basically it's about to collapse on itself. But that model was designed from the outset to do exactly that, and we're about to see that. And they're going to reset the clock, and then again monopolize the financial system even more, and centralize it even more. And it's going to be a electronic one, but seems like gold and silver is going to be the safe haven. So I mean, I certainly recommend that you do that. Or overnight, you're going to find all your hard work and your wealth, as it were. And although as a Muslim, we don't recommend amassing wealth like that and coveting it. We shouldn't be. But I mean, for those of you who do have a reasonable amount of money, then all I can recommend is take it out of your accounts, invest it in gold and silver, and then use it for good. You know, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has given Muslims that responsibility toward the Ummah. We're not here to consume and produce. You know, that's not our purpose. Our purpose, if anything, is to give. In fact, our carbon footprint, as it were, should be far less than what we contribute to mankind and humanity when we came into the world and as we leave. Our legacy should be far, it should outstretch our what we've actually taxed from the world and humanity, as it were. In other words, we should be of benefit, and that's our purpose in life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakallahu khairan wa ahsanul jaza for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.